What's up, everybody? Rain here, coming at you with a Modern Masters 2015 draft. Um, been hearing some expressed interest in doing some recordings for these drafts. Right off the bat, there's Iona, which is very hard to play. So we have Cranial Plating, amazing card, 2 Mole Drifters, and a Nameless Inversion as the real options here. These are all kind of blue cards. I do think the Affinity deck is actually one of the better decks in the format, and Cranial Plating is one of the better cards in that deck. Nameless Inversion is a very safe pick, though, so it's pretty up in the air. I think I'm going to take Cranial Plating. I force Spirits a lot, so let's do something new. Here we could take a Mursmith or a Mortar Pod, both of which are great in Affinity. Normally I would have taken the Nameless Inversion, now be taking a Thief of Hope, but Mursmith is definitely a very, very good card in the Affinity deck. So is Mortar Pod. Yeah, we'll take the Smith. Here we could consider a Reassembling Skeleton if we took the Mortar Pod. As it stands, we could take a Kami, we could take a Skyreach Monster, a Kite Sail, or a Cathodian. Cathodian's okay, it's just not exciting. It's good filling on the curve, though. Kite Sail is actually a card I think that's better than Cathodian, but it's a card that wheels more often. Helium Squirter is not really on my radar right now. Ulamog's Crusher costs way too much. Yeah, I think I'm just going to grab the Cathodian here. Bloodshot Trainee is actually kind of tempting. Didn't even look at that. Yeah, I'm going to take the Bloodshot Trainee. You can splash red or go red. You already have one way to turn this guy on, and he can just take over games. It's a pretty late remand, but as it stands, I'm considering between Darksteel Citadel and Skirmisher. I think I'm going to grab the Skirmisher. It's pretty close. But again, with Bloodshot Trainee, we might just be moving into an equipment deck more than an affinity deck. And Skirmisher is really good with equipment. Wow. Okay, it looks like red is really open. Court Homunculus, if I was still considering affinity, could be good. But it looks like I'm just going to be moving in on red-white. The double red on the evoke cost here is a little awkward. Brute Force is quite good with Bloodshot Trainee. Gorehorn Marauders is just a really, really good card, though. It's a little lighter on my mana. I think powerful creatures are a little more important in this deck. Wow, that's a late Boros Garrison. Yeah, I'll snap that right up. Very happy to see that. Alright. Here we could take a Fiery Fall or a Sickle Slicer. Sickle Slicer being another way to turn on Bloodshot Trainee. Very good with Skirmisher. Just a decent 3-drop. Another artifact for Smith. Pretty easy pick here, I think. Yeah. Sickle Slicer isn't as good as people give it credit for, but in these sorts of decks, it can just be good. So, pretty happy about that. If it was equip 3 or equip 2, then I'd be snapping this up earlier. This is the most underrated card in all of Modern Masters. Inner Flame Igniter is a premium common. Past that, this pack is still pretty good. There's Aquastrand Spider, Cloud Elemental's okay. It's mostly Aquastrand and Mana Leak. We're shipping a lot of green-blue. I think that's fine, and Igniter's in this pack. I really like picking up Terechi's Grasp at some point because I think the Affinity deck is actually the best deck, but Flayer Husk is just fine here. Equipment is what we want in red-white, so... Whew, that's so late. Like these guys, if you don't get the Bloodthirst off, they're on curve. If you do get the Bloodthirst off, they're just absolutely nuts. They turn into Belucranos, basically. Belucranos Monstrous is kind of relevant and limited, but still, this guy's a common. Belucranos is a rare. 4-mana 5/5s are big game. And increase the card size for you guys. Looks like we're in the right place. Just waiting on a pack. I gotta be running on time soon. You can do it, Magic Biz. As I said, Kite Sail I think was the better card to take last time, but I took this... Oh, I didn't even take that. I took the Bloodshot Training last time. Yeah, Kite Sail is a wonderful card. Works really well with high power ground creatures. Works decently with any like first strike guys we pick up, like Blood Ogre. Very happy to have it. Choices between Apostle's Blessing and Darksteel Citadel. This allows us to pick up some Metalcraft guys because we'll have Sickle Slicer, Cranial Plating, Flayer Husk. Works really well with Cranial Plating. It's just a card I kind of want to have. Whew. Court Homunculus, considering we picked up Citadel as an option. I think I'm going to grab a Brute Force. Nah, I'll take the Court Homunculus. If we didn't have the Smurfsmith, I would have taken the Brute Force. And that pick was close, and I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. Alright, pack 2. Cards are a little too big, so I'm gonna shrink them a little. There's a Battle Grace Angel, is one of the best rares in the format. There's Arrest and Burst Lightning, both of which I would be happy first picking. But yeah, I'm just gonna take the Battle Grace. Turn you play, like say we play Gorehorn Bloodthirst the previous turn, play Battle Grace Angel, swing with the Gorehorn for 6 lifelink. Or even if you just have a Bloodshot trainee with like, let's say a Kite Sail on it. I guess the Exalted doesn't work unless you give it Vigilance. Touche. But never mind on that one. That's not bad. It is pretty bad, actually. There's a Blinding Soul Eater in this pack. One of the most underrated cards. This card is one of the best commons in the set. Soulbrought Flamekin and Inner Flame Igniter is one of the most, like, if you get 7 mana, this is like mythic level, win the game. I'm going to take the Blinding Soul Eater. I do think it will not make it back around. Looking to wheel Lodestone, Sickle Slicer, or Flamekin. Expecting to wheel Sickle Slicer, not Flamekin. But if we do wheel the Flamekin, I'd be very happy. But yeah, I'm just going to take the Tapper. If we didn't have 2 Minotaurs, I'd be really tempted to just snap up the Minotaur here. I'm still a little tempted. Copper Carapace turns on our Bloodshot trainee. It's quite a strong card. Otherworldly Journey is a card I would actually play in this deck. We need some more 2-drops. It's kind of a big deal. Do we want a third Minotaurs or a Blood Ogre? I'm going to take the Blood Ogre. It's really good at starting to turn on my 4-drops, and if we can turn it on, then we can just get into the chain. It's a pretty devastating chain. Here there's a Sunlance, there's a Gruul Turf, which is tempting. Another Flare Husk, which I'm not going to take right now. Goblin Warpaint, which is actually fine against the non-blue decks. Mighty Leap, which is okay. It helps enable Bloodthirst, and it can turn on our trainee for a turn. I'm just going to grab the Sunlance. We're lacking a few things to do early, and we're also lacking removal, so Sunlance feels just like the perfect card. Yeah, Kiki-Jiki is really good and limited, except if you're playing a Bloodthirst / Equipment deck, which is exactly what we're playing, so sorry Kiki-Jiki. Restless Apparitions, very hard on our mana base. Alloy Mirror is okay, Blessing's okay, Dragon Soul Knight is not as good as Blood Ogre, so I'm just going to take the Skirmisher here. Again, they work well with any amount of extra power. There's a Mutagenic Growth, which is actually really solid in this deck. Again, as I was talking about, turning on trainee is a big deal. Free combat tricks, just a very big deal in these sorts of decks if you get first strikers out. Yeah, I'm going to take Mutagenic Growth. Glinthawk Idol is a card I would like to play. It's a little expensive on my mana base. I just don't have as many artifacts as I'd like for this guy. It's close. Glinthawk Idol is actually like really good in this deck. That's a late Waxmane Baku. That's the sort of thing I like to live for in this format. We have one Elemental. It's kind of off the table for that. Rusted Relic, as I was talking about with the Darksteel Citadel pickup, there's actually an alright chance that we end up playing this card. We're not playing Waxmane Baku. Actually, the other thing I was saying is we need 2-drops to turn on our Blood Ogres. If we get any more, we could also end up picking up a dual land or 2. Whew. Everything worked out. Okay. I'm a little overwhelmed. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be sad if I was in spirits, but jeez. Yeah. Life is good. Raise the alarm for surprise Bloodthirst. Wow, this deck is really shaping up. Wow, Flamekin made it back. I did not expect that. Oh god. Marauders made it back? Minotaurs? Yeah, that fits really well on our curve. I would still be fine playing another Worldly Journey, just because it's good with Skirmisher, it's good with Hobgoblin, it's decent with Trainee, because then Kite Sail turns it on, and Flare Husk turns it on. Take a Goblin Warpaint for the board. Let's see how many creatures we have on the 2s right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll take a Warpaint for the board, I guess. If we're playing against a non-blue deck, that can come in. This isn't a, this is actually, I'm doing a Phantom Draft right now, so had enough for another regular draft, but kind of felt like maybe people are rare drafting too hard. Wanted to see if I could get some more skill in the Phantom drafts. Our deck's really shaping up. Prime time, not where we're looking. Dispatch, what's our artifact count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7, which is borderline? And technically Mersmith makes more artifacts too. If we just prioritize picking up artifacts, this dispatch could work out. The alternative is Glinthawk Idol, but one of them actually might make it back. Garrison versus Core Duelist. How many pieces of equipment do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Core Duelist is really good. So is Garrison. Wow, this is close. I actually don't think there's anybody else in red-white, so I think we might get the Garrison back. And because of that, I'm going to take the Core Duelist. Or I could take the Core Homunculus since I took a Dispatch. We don't have to play the Dispatch. I'm going to take the Core Duelist. That might be wrong, actually. That's the first pick this draft where I think I might have made a mistake. By the way, guys, I've been another reason I took the Duelist is because I'm taking brief glances at the packs, and it looks like I might get a Copper Carapace or two back. There's a good amount of equipment in these packs. I'm always down for Bloodshot Trainee. We don't have a ton of ways to turn him on. We have a few ways. Or we could take a Blinding Soul 8 or two. If we get one of those Carapaces back, it's pretty good. Yeah, it takes over the game pretty quickly. Cranial Plating. Makes me wish I took that Core Homunculus instead of the Core Duelist. Want to wheel a Brute Force, I guess? Might with a Daggerclaw Imp in the pack. Double Cranial Plating. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 artifacts. With a Mersmith that technically makes artifacts. We're getting there. We're getting there. Blaze of Velasfell is actually a consideration with 2 trainees now. Also, Inner Flame Igniter turns on trainee pretty easily. Another Mutagenic Growth versus another Court Homunculus. It's tough. Mutagenic Growth, Slaughtermaster, Skirmisher, Hobgoblin, Blood Ogre, Trainee is great with all those. Court Homunculus, really good at turning on Dispatch, really good helping Cranial Plating out. Very solid 1-drop in this deck, and might even be better than Core Duelist. This is not an easy pick. Given that we took the dispatch, I think I'm going to take the court homunculus. It's a pretty late flamekin. The other option is Otherworldly Journey. This card's pretty good. You can exile your opponent's Skyreach Montas. You can do some nasty stuff. It's decent on our creatures too. Helps them dodge removal. Helps them get a little bigger, and +1/+1 counter is a pretty big deal, especially on Bloodshot training. Yeah, I'm going to take the Otherworldly Journey. It's close with the Flamekin though. It's actually closer than it looks. Here we could take a Flare Husk and just finish out our 1-drops. This isn't a 1-drop. We have a lot of 1-drops. But all of them are actually really good. It's basically between Flare Husk, which I might play in the main deck, or Gutshot or Terechi's Grasp, which would be sideboard cards. I'm going to take the Flare Husk. Second Blood Ogre versus Arrest. At this point, Dispatch is removal, since we picked up a few more artifacts. I do really want another Blood Ogre. I don't think I need to prioritize removal here, since I'm playing an aggressive deck. Oftentimes, the cards you want in aggressive decks are just like Mutagenic Growth, or very, very cheap removal, which I consider these two to be, but our deck quality is pretty high. I'm going to take the Blood Ogre. Smash to Smithereens is a little better than Grasp in this deck. Oh. Go to the sideboard. Shikari versus another Court Homunculus. Here's one of the Carapaces that I thought would wheel. But given that we picked up another Cranial Plating and another Flare Husk, I think we're good on equipment. The option is Court Homunculus or Shikari. I think I'm going to go with Shikari. It's better than Raise the Alarm for sure. I take the Goblin Warpaint for the sideboard again if they're not playing bounce spells. It's pretty solid. Apostle's Blessing for the board. Rusted Relic as an actual consideration. Let's hate out the Sylvan Bounty. Wow, what a deck. I'm going to be making another video for deck building, since we ended up with a lot of decisions that I'll have to make in regards to what I'm playing. Cloud Elemental is a stick, not bad. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed watching my draft process. I'll be right back.